Good evening. I'm Joe Netherworld, and I'm here tonight, or whatever time you're tuning in. God, I'm dating myself. I sound so newscaster 1978. We're here with a daily tarot card read for January 15th, 2014. And the 15 is interesting. We're now officially, give or take, within hours, halfway through the month. And means winter is getting further behind us. Once we're on the top of the hill, we're cresting the hill, we're working through January, and this is the really winter month. And though people have been moaning and groaning about this winter, it's really been kind of mild and nice and relatively normal. And that's the strange thing. They keep on talking about this terrible weather and weather fronts. It's like, I'm old enough to have lived through a lot of weather, and it seems relatively normal. I mean, even going back to the early 2000s. We had a cold snap. It was a cold winter. It was 14 degrees. Didn't get above 14 degrees, I think, in 2006 for 2 weeks in winter, which is not that abnormal. I have friends who live in Burlington, Vermont, and it never gets above 14 degrees. I think even in the summer it's like 28 degrees or something. Anyway, enough of me being silly, but being a little bit real right now with today's daily read. I'm going to pull our main card. We've had some interesting cards jump up, and a lot of this month seems to be very analytical, self-analytical. Not too much about great outside pressures, but a lot of, our attitude has been controlling ourselves. So, smack those cards. See what we got here. Main card. Four of Rods. This is a nice card. It represents the four columns of our foundations. It represents our house. It represents springtime, and that's just getting near. So it's, if I were to be esoteric about judging the weather, which I don't like to be, let the weather do its own thing, where spring is not too far off. So early spring perhaps this year. But mainly it's about the home and the castle, right the beginning. We're walking through the archway, we're heading towards that. And it represents the rods, represent some hard work to lay down the foundations for our home. So this is a moment, what we're getting right here, that represents putting our homes into place, getting the foundation set. Maybe, what's the best way to put this? Maybe it's time to think about moving or building a new place to live or starting construction philosophically about the next phase where we're going to be. So that's interesting. I like this card a lot. Interesting in winter that it precursors and suggests that we're going to have an early spring too. We are at the halfway mark of January, so that's always a good sign. But we have on the other side of this card, High Priestess. We do like her. This time of the year especially. It represents magic, it represents female intuition, it represents fortune telling and psychic abilities, and also being a little bit careful and considerate of all the forces that we use when we make things happen. So that's interesting. Contemplative, intellectual, and intuitive at the same time. And here we have the Lovers. That's the other card here. So now the story begins to take shape. The plot thickens. It gets a little Shakespearean. We have a home ready to happen. We have the Lovers energy on the one side and the High Priestess on the other. I see that what I see here is this is the beginnings of proposals of marriage. The beginning of really the next level in relationships. It's about marriage and home and the High Priestess, so the female force of magic taking place. This is about pregnancies, and maybe it's about getting a new home because there's more, you're adding more people to the house. So today is definitely a little bit beyond romance. It's about making a future plan that involves romance, and that involves lovers, and it involves having strong female intuitive forces. I think today is also, from my women readers, viewers out there, it's more about using your women's intuition today. And men have the female force of intuition is there too. But this is what I'm seeing here on the women's side. Let me talk to the women first for a moment. It's about being smarter than your mate and smarter than the situation, because believing what you feel and having that be proof enough. What you feel today is true today. So that's how I'm going to say that. Now, okay, the men can come back in the room or gather back around the laptop. Today, expect to be in love or to be ruled by love, to consider what love has done to you and where your home lies, and that maybe it takes a little bit more than logic to lay the groundwork for making this happy home and this family. That this is really about being in love, making love happen, making situations happen, or to evaluate where those situations have taken you. But there is definitely home in the future. It's a day to address love issues. It's also a day to address maybe you've been wrong about things, and maybe you haven't made the best effort to make yourself available. Maybe you've been too analytical. So stop thinking and start feeling today, and prepare for, you're now entering, and I feel this is springtime, we're foreshadowing the spring, that there is relationship, there is new home, there is new place, and there's new life. And new, usually when you go into a relationship and you move into a place together, it's a brand new world. That's coming. That might be only starting today or laying the seeds in the ground for it to bloom in the spring, but today is the day that happens. So use your intuition. And also the warning would be this: if you look around and you do not see any fertile ground in the situations you're in, and you do not see any possibility of a happy future in where you are, it's time to get up and go. Or make the plans to leave, because if you can't see it, and this wants to be, this is a very powerful energy. It's saying this is the next chapter of our lives that is laid out today. If you can't see it at all, if everything points to this is never going to be what I want it to be, then you have to relinquish this place, vacate the home, so to speak, and begin moving on. Make those decisions today. But on the most part, it's a very positive day. I don't think that this is for most of you out there, this is going to be a fun, exciting, and thrilling day, and that we want to make sure that we're open to what we feel and not what we see. Use your feelings today, trust in them, but don't let them be clouded by other people's opinions. Okay? So it's a little tricky, as all matters of love and relationships are. There's trickiness to it, because sometimes we can't believe what we feel, but we should. Today of all days, it's about love, about new homes, marriage, and the power of the High Priestess. So keep that all in mind. Those are very powerful forces we're dealing with today, and they're all about the heart, and they're all about our future. So I'll see you again around midnight. You contemplate and react and live with these cards today. We'll see you again around midnight. Like I said, I'll be here waiting for you. A little more stories to tell, more magic to share. Have a great night.